We arrived in the UK for a holiday, planning to travel to South Africa at our leisure. What a big mistake that was. Without warning, South Africa had tightened up its immigration policy, and all of a sudden we needed both a job and a work permit for entry. But getting a job from the UK was not going to be quick or easy. Our old hometown of Luton was our base, and after a few days staying in the Strathmore Hotel, we bought a second-hand car and settled in for the long haul. In the end, we suffered 9 months of a British winter in a rented house in Brompton Close, on the notorious Marsh Farm estate, before we were able to sort something out. This was not a happy period of our lives. We finally flew out to South Africa in mid-1977, where I had a job with Anglo-American in Johannesburg's Crown Mines. It turned out to be a case of out of the frying pan and into the fire, as the job was very low level and both Maureen and I hated living in Joburg, which was pretty much like a hot London, not at all what we were looking for. We stayed in a rented house and lived on KFC while we debated our future. Fortunately, however, it was only a couple of months before I managed to get another job, this time on the east coast, just north of Durban, in the small town of Richards Bay. At the time, we had no idea that we were to settle and spend so many years there. So, life was looking up, despite the hot and humid weather, and this was only the coastal winter. Richards Bay was a very small seaside village when we arrived all those years ago, but the area was being heavily developed with the building of a large deep-water harbour exporting most of South Africa's coal, Alusaf, a major aluminium smelter, Mondi paper, and a fertiliser producer. If you look on the map, you will find Richards Bay situated on the east coast of South Africa, about midway between Mozambique and Durban. The climate is subtropical. Air cons are definitely needed. We moved into a relatively new house in the suburb of Miransir and settled into our new life in what was essentially a new town. The children were all at local schools and I was working for Richards Bay Minerals, a new development that was mining the locally titanium-rich beach sand. There were few facilities available locally other than one small spa, and initially we had to do our monthly shop in Durban, and also used to stay over regularly for hotel weekends. Durban is a great city with first-class shopping, beautiful golden beaches, and its famous Golden Mile. To complete our family, our fifth child, Annalise, was born in 1979 in a nearby hospital in Empangeni, some 20 kilometres away, as there were no hospitals in Richards Bay. We were starting to settle down to life in a small town, and our family life moved into the stage where we were preparing our children for their future lives. Parenting has been called the ultimate long-term investment. It's one of the most complex and challenging jobs you'll face in your lifetime. But we didn't know that. We just did what we thought was best. We were always fairly strict with our family, and if I say so ourselves, they were always well-behaved and well-mannered. Maureen in particular had what we called the look, which commanded immediate obedience. They all did well at school, partaking in most sporting activities, and made good progress through all the grades, getting good matrics. The teenage years were a bit more challenging, as it was a time where, as young adults, they started to test the boundaries of their independence, as they approached the time for leaving home, be it college, military or jobs. Neil was the first to leave home for his national service with the army, followed by David, who went to university in Durban. Both Mandy and Vanessa went overseas to England, and although Vanessa returned, Mandy decided to stay. Annalise initially also went to university in Durban, but after the first year decided to study from home via UNISA. So if we've done our job properly, we have managed to bring up 5 children with a head start, ready to make their own way in the world. Amazingly, we still live in that same house that we moved into all those years ago on our arrival way back in 1977, although it has gone through several transitions over time. The town, however, is unrecognisable, as it has continued to grow and has developed into a fairly large town with a modern shopping mall, hospital, waterfront area, restaurants, and most of the amenities associated with the thriving town. So what is next for Maureen and myself? We can expect more excitement ahead as our children make their own way through life. Who knows, we could well become grandparents in our old age.